Hello, everyone. My name is Joshua Gilliland, attorney blogger on Bowtie Law and with Jessica Meterson on The Legal Geeks. With me is Derek Miller at inData Corporation, and Trial Director was one of the first products I learned to use. I learned summation, I learned Trial Director, and I fell in love with it. Just had a rip-roaring good time in preparing a case for trial, and still Trial Director is very near and dear to me. Derek's here to talk about 2014. And Derek, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Doing great.
So my first question for you, what are the biggest legal issues in 2014 for litigators?
For litigators, I take a different perspective than some. I focus primarily on the trial side and what is happening in the trial arena and where things are going. And I see trial 2014 similarly as I did in 2009, where the economy dictated a lot of what was happening and what was going on, and to bring some certainty into things, there was a lot of settlement that went on. Rather than take your chances, it seemed like there was a lot of people who wanted a more definitive end or resolution to whatever the litigation was about. And so I see 2014 as a similar type deal where there's a lot of evaluation that goes on. There's a lot of pre-trial work and pre-trial settlement talks in an effort to come up with a resolution that will give it some finite ending to be able to help them plan better economically.
Now, what tools do you see people using to solve these problems?
It's been interesting. Trial Director's been out for well over 10 years. And every time we think, we've run out of users, a whole new set of users comes out, whether they're people who have been practicing law for a long time or a short time. And so there's still a lot of people who are getting into the technological arena. The iPad has brought a lot of technologically of adverse people into that mix where they want to try something, and the iPad gives them just enough of a taste that it doesn't seem so daunting. It's something simple that they can take into a hearing or into an arbitration and control it themselves without having to learn a whole software package. And so we see that as one side of it. And then the other side of it, to me, is you've got a lot of large law firms and even some medium-sized regional firms that have multiple offices. And so in an effort to provide the best service to their customers, they're utilizing whatever and however they can throughout all of their different offices. So let's say the litigation is in New York, but they have kind of a Florida office that is more economical, and they've got people that they can use to do different facets in preparation for litigation. And being able to accommodate the multi-office or regional type litigation is a big deal. And so we're trying to come up with solutions that provide more of a collaborative tool that these law firms in these situations can deal with. I think that building a collaborative tool or something that attorneys, clients, experts, co-counsel can use to share all of that data and be able to work in that type of environment and make their productivity optimal. I think that's one of the things that technologically in 2014 and going forward is available and will be used a lot more as people become more comfortable with what the cloud is and what it means and how to deal with the security issues and how to deal with uploading, downloading data and what you actually then end up taking into the courtroom.
I was thinking about your new product, TD Notebook, and I remember being a contract attorney and preparing a case, and we'd have to ship disks around for people to check out the work that had taken place. in preparing for trial. And I thought, TD Notebook would have been an awesome tool to have had when I was doing that, because you could do all the work, upload it, and then the partner handling the trial itself could then download it to their laptop and check things out. And I could see, it's not just the multi-office, it's the small firm who could benefit by using that and being able to have the remote paralegal or the contract attorney, whatever situation they have, and being able to work as smoothly as possible. So like that's the kind of the cool benefit that I could see from what you guys are talking about.
Yeah, I think that there's a number of the smaller firms that have either, like you say, contract paralegals, contract technology experts who are helping them with the trial preparation, that kind of thing. Once you've got something like TD Notebook that allows you to work from anywhere, all of a sudden it opens up all kinds of possibilities. You could have the trial team actually in trial, across the country, and have somebody back at the office, wherever that's at, creating clips and then downloading just the clip data. You don't have to download all the video, the clip data, which is really small, and be ready to go on the fly. And so rather than take groups of people out to trial and have people sitting back at the war room and people in the courtroom, essentially you can take that whole war room environment, minus a printer, of course, and that could be wherever you want. It doesn't have to be right there with.
That's phenomenal. I mean, I remember working on one case. It was spousal support, with the husband trying to get spousal support from the wife, because that was the fact pattern, and putting together depot clips and our guys represented the wife to show the husband's capacity to still do work, and taking info from the depositions. I mean, it was fascinating and it was cool, but I was doing it all on my laptop, and then had to go in to show the attorney, this is what we got, what do you think? Having the cloud collaboration would just completely cut out the middleman. There would be no driving out to the office to meet with them or anything like that. It's, here you are, what do you think? And I see nothing but benefit from that technology.
It's been really fun, kind of in the testing environment. One of the things that I did, I was working with an attorney in LA. Mm-hmm. And LA and Phoenix aren't that far apart. It's cheap to get there. It's quick to get there. But it's one of these things where late at night, he calls up, he's like, hey, I want to check out this one transcript. And it was an audio-only recording that had a transcript associated with it. Loaded it up into TD Notebook, sent him an invitation. He gets the invitation. He's using a Mac. I'm using a PC. So one of the benefits of TD Notebook is it's operating system independent and browser independent. So he starts doing searches and wants to create clips. I was then going, well, here's all you have to do. And I would create the clip and then say, okay, now go watch that clip. And instantaneously, he's like, oh my gosh, yeah, hang on. So he sends an invitation to somebody else, gets them on the phone, says, hey, go check this out. He starts making clips and playing those clips for the next guy. And that guy's like, oh my gosh. And so he starts making clips, and it turned into a true collaboration where it wasn't a matter of me having to be right there next to him. It could be on the phone. They could see exactly what I'm doing. I can see exactly what they're doing. And all of a sudden, it just expands that whole team to being wherever you are, you can still be as if you're in the office next door. And that, I think that's just huge.
It was just phenomenal. I mean, for anyone who's done trial prep and had the nosebleeds, being able to streamline it and reduce any stress points is just so critical. So this is why I think this is really exciting and cool. So, good job. So
we're really excited about it. One of the questions that gets asked is, well, what do you take into the courtroom? Do you take TD Notebook into the courtroom? And the answer is no, you'll still take Trial Director in the courtroom. The two are integrated. You'll transfer data between them, but the courtrooms don't have reliable internet connectivity. And so you would not want your case to be dependent on anything that the courts would provide. Even if you had a hotspot, or some type of Wi-Fi that you set up yourself, you just wouldn't want to risk it. And so you're still going to take trial director into the courtroom, but all the work and the prep work can be done anywhere. And then they're synchronized between the two is minimal. It's just changing. It's just transmitting whatever the changes are, not whole parts of data.
Yeah, that's always scared me, being able to go in and say, oh, we'll just, Wi-Fi connection in court. Some of them are great, some of them are not. I mean, you're playing with fire at that point. And in 5 or 10 years, depending on how court funding is, maybe everything will be stable and everything, you don't have to worry about it. But that's we're not there yet. So, we got legal tech coming up. Where are you guys going to be so people could check out TD Notebook and Trial Director and the integration between the two?
We're in our normal place. It's up on the second floor. Right as you come up the escalators, it's booth 2004 and 2006. And we've tried to stay in that same place every year so that people get used to, your home, so to speak, at Legal Tech. And we're also doing a session on Tuesday afternoon talking about the use of collaborative technology in preparation for trial. It's more of a discussion about collaborative tools and things to be aware of as opposed to a software demo. But all of that kind of plays into that same mix of, well, if I'm going to collaborate, what are the issues and how do I deal with them? And when we say collaboration, what does that mean? And what are you able to truly collaborate on versus what is somebody else doing and I'm just verifying or checking out?
Awesome. Very awesome. I wish I could be there. Next week is the beginning of the high school mock trial tournament, so I can attend the show. But I totally love to see that, and I hope it's very successful. So,
I've yet to figure out why they do legal tech in New York in the wintertime when you could be in Arizona at 75 degrees enjoying. Well, they probably wouldn't attend the actual seminars because they want to be outside and enjoying the weather is probably why.
Yeah, moving legal tech February to Miami, Dallas, Phoenix, San Diego, anything south of the Mason-Dixon line probably would help with the environment. And do legal tech New York in like June or April, but we're not in charge, so we're not.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would make it. There's a lot of snow waiting. So
yeah, they get frosty.
So
I do like the fact though that they moved it to Tuesday through Thursday instead of having to fly out on Sunday or whatever. You can fly out Monday, and they have made that change a nice one.
And that's so important, because the quality of life and having to travel, and when we start losing weekends and time with family, I mean that's just rough. And seeing it condensed to a work week, that well done. So hat tip whoever made that decision. So we both are aviators at heart. I took flight lessons before I could drive, and I know you are also an aviator. And who was your favorite aviator in all of history?
My favorite aviator, there's two of them. First one would be Jimmy Doolittle, because when he took the group and went back on their mission to go bomb Japan, that took a lot of guts, number one, to take off in one of those off an aircraft carrier. So you've got to really know your aerodynamics. You've really got to know the airplane in and out and what it's capable of and what it's not capable of. My second aviation hero is Bob Hoover. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's been famous from the Reno air races. He was kind of one of the very first people who brought aerobatics into the mainstream. And if you ever saw one of his shows that he put on, it was just unbelievable how this man could control the airplane. I mean, he knew and understood aerodynamics and every effect that everything had on that airplane, and was able to do all kinds of stuff in it and make it perform well beyond what you would think it was capable of. And he's still around. If you go to the Reno air races, they'll generally trot him out, for a standing ovation, but somebody who really tests the limits of an airplane to know what it can and can't do, and who's still alive, says a lot about their ability to test and verify, and well, that worked, and that didn't work, but we're not doing that again until we know this. It kind of is that problem solver mentality that somebody's willing to keep edging so that other aviators get educated and then don't end up in those envelopes where there's problems. And so he's definitely a guy to go watch on YouTube and just see what he would do in different airplanes. And never was on the edge throughout the whole time. It was unbelievable.
Wow. My, like my grandfather was at Lockheed for 46 years, my dad 30. My earliest memory is the rollout of the Space Shuttle Columbia. And I took my dad to the final Space Shuttle launch because since he took me to the rollout when I was 4, I thought it was a good way to cap the shuttle program by taking him to the final launch.
That would be awesome.
Dude, I saw the last 2 shuttle launches. So Endeavor's final launch was during CEIC in 2011, and they had moved it several times. And like I'm waiting for the cab to go to the airport, and I found out from my buddy that, hey, they moved the launch to Monday. And I went like, well, I'm not speaking to 4 o'clock. Forget the keynote. I went online, bought the tickets for the launch, flew out, took a cab to go pick up the tickets, and they drove you out to the Cape at midnight. So like that's when you rendezvous. And saw the launch, skipped the keynote, skipped the first half of the event, got back to the hotel, showered, shaved, put on the suit, and then went to go present, and it was awesome.
Yeah, I'm sure the adrenaline rush of that, and then having to do a presentation that night, you were like, ugh.
Well, I recorded it, and so I began my presentation by I edited the video clip and played it off my iPad to begin my presentation.
That's awesome.
It was wickedly cool. For the Atlantis launch, I rented a 500 millimeter lens and took that back, and I got some awesome shots from there. But I would have to say my favorite aviator, probably Armstrong or Young. Just because we have 2 of Armstrong's spacecraft in the Smithsonian. We had the longest X-15 flight and first man on the moon. There it is. And Young he's still living, has flown the most spacecraft out of any American because he flew with Grissom on Gemini 1. He's also been to the moon 3 times and the first shuttle launch. And so you have, with Gemini, Apollo, the LEM, and the shuttle, not many people can say that. So it's quite the impressive man. But anyway, well, it's so good to catch up. I'm going to be in Phoenix soon, so love to see you then. But I have a great legal tech, and I look forward to hearing more about TD Notebook and how things are going.
Yeah, I appreciate you taking the time, and it's great talking with you, and hope to see you soon.
Definitely, my friend. You take care now.
You too.
Thanks.